Yeah, I mean, the disappointment from last week, I think, was addressed at the beginning of this week to say that certainly we don't want to drop points, we don't want to have bad results, but what we can't do is allow ourselves to have the type of performance that we had, especially at the beginning of that match against NYCFC. And there's a certain standard that we're trying to set for ourselves moving forward in relationship to the identity that I think we've displayed for the majority of the matches this year. But that wasn't the case against New York City, and I think it was a really important learning moment for us as to what's not acceptable. And I think that the response this week has been one that's been in line with what it should be.
Injury updates on, I guess, Ted and Connor?
Yeah, so Ted is likely still going to be out this weekend, and then Connor will be out as well.
Are they more short-term than long-term?
I'm hoping both will make progress to be in consideration by next week, but I'd say at this stage it's still there's a lot of progress that needs to be made for both of them for that to be the case.
We'll take some from Zoom now, Matt.
We'll go to Dave Johnson.
Troy, you're just talking about it's important to keep showing the identity. Were you at least pleased about the response, actually, not only at the start of this week, but in the game? As we said in the broadcast, it could have easily been a 1-1 game. So it seemed after you grew into that game and that your identity was still prevailed.
I can't say that on the day, Dave. I think if we would have gotten away with a draw in this match, then I think that there would be an element of luck involved in that, and not really living up to what we expect from ourselves. And that happens from time to time, but I don't think you probably learned the lessons that we learned in a really important way and an important time for us to say, okay, that can't happen again, and it can't happen again this weekend against Seattle, who's regardless of their record right now, we know the ability that they have coming into Audi Field. And lastly, with us playing at home, that absolutely can't be the case. We have to be on point for 90 minutes, and I said this a few weeks ago, we're in the process of trying to rebuild our reputation and rebuild trust with the DC United supporters. And when you have performances like last weekend, that doesn't help our case. And we have to have the performances that we've had in the other 8 matches this season.
Speaking of points, then what are the points we should stress, or you want to stress the team to avoid what happened last Saturday?
Yeah, I think the start of the match is is probably a great point of emphasis. You haven't seen us start slow in a match, and I think that's number one. And so this will be hopefully addressed this week. We have to start fast against Seattle. They're a team that if they get on the front foot, again, they have so many dangerous pieces, and it's our job to go and make it really difficult on the night for them.
Next, we'll go to Bruce Murray.
Hey, Troy, how are you?
Good, Bruce.
Just curious, 3 points this week, and you're right in the thick of it. Is man management, like the skill? We talked to Ted Q earlier in the season about your man management skills, and is that the key? Do you have to go to every player to get the most out of them and treat players differently? There is the group message, but we're hearing from all the players the man management skills that you have. How does that work?
I think that it's about being honest and making sure that if there's a really good performance, I don't mind highlighting that and explaining to the group and the individual why that was an important performance by that individual. But also in the NYCFC case, I also addressed individuals in relationship to how poorly the performance was displayed on the night from us. And I think that level of honesty, accountability, transparency, coupled with the relationship that we've built in a short amount of time, I think that's probably a big part of it as well. They know I'm coming from a place that's just trying to get the best out of them for ultimately us to have the right results. And that's my job, is to make sure that I bring the best out of every single one of these guys. And it's really, there's so much gratification in it whenever you have success, but part of the process of getting the best out of someone is saying when it's not to their level, you have to address it and you have to say you can do better than that.
That's great. Good luck. Thanks, Troy.
Thanks, Bruce.
You want to take another one from Seattle?
Troy, with the roster was really tight last week. You only had a few outfield players on the bench. Are you obviously it was an extreme situation because of suspensions and all the injuries. Are you comfortable with the roster size and the availability of players? Obviously, a couple guys are out on loan. Where do things stand?
Yeah, I mean, I would say that we knew that 2024 was going to present challenges in terms of our roster build, and I was well aware of that coming into the job. And then there's some circumstances of players that we didn't expect to be out for the year, and the potential of Russell being out for the year now, which, I really appreciate the story that you did on him. I thought that reflected really well of the circumstance in which he had to go through, which was it's been a difficult one, particularly over the last couple of months, if not the last few years. And, I don't think anyone could account for losing a player of his stature. Steve Birnbaum has yet to feature for us. This is an important player, our captain. Koo's been in and out. And like you said, last week was a bit extreme not having Matty Click and Aaron Herrera, coupled with some of the other guys that have been injured, Connor Antley, to name another. And, from my standpoint, it's that you can put energy into that and say that is a circumstance that is real and that, we can put our focus and attention on. But I think you know well enough, Steve, that that's not going to be an excuse for us. So no matter if we make mistakes on the field or we don't get the result, there's still a standard in which we expect to see displayed on the field. And, I think we have plenty in this group to go and get the results that we need. Do we want to add to the group? Absolutely. I think we want to add to the group whenever it is the right fit for where the club is with our salary cap in 2024. But if we don't add anyone, then I have a lot of confidence in this group to go and get the job done.
On the flip side of that is you have plenty of goalkeepers. You have 4 of them on the roster. Now that Tyler's back active, he was in uniform last week for the first time. Where does he stand now? And do you, like, I didn't see Luis out there. Are you in a situation now where you're going to have to send one of the younger guys out?
Yeah, and so that's probably the last thing I didn't address from the question that you just asked previously is the couple of players that we have on loan right now. Of course, we could bring them back, and Jeremy Garay and Hayden Sargis. We could bring them back whenever our roster is in that emergencies type situation, but that's not great for their development either, and I'm aware of that. And so Luis Zamudio is going to be in a position where he could potentially go on loan, and that would be great for him because I think he's shown that he's more than capable as a 3, and now he's trying to push to be a 2, and so we need to see him get a run of games. And with Tyler coming back into the mix, I think that presents competition in the 1 spot. But I've been happy with Alex throughout the entire season. I've communicated that pretty clearly to the group, to Alex, to Tyler, because I think it's fair to Tyler to say where our goalkeeping situation is currently. But it's going to create competition, and that's a good thing.